Good morning, everyone. It's Thursday morning, finally getting around to making the video. Got the kids back in school this week, so it's been a crazy busy week. Taking the time now to make my recovery video and get this out to you. So I ended up going out solo Saturday night. Scouted around earlier in the day, found actually more than I had thought was available for us to hit, and was pretty excited about the prospects. So I headed out to the first spot and ended up calling the neighbor that lives across the street. He'd never been out, so I called him and he walked across and ended up scanning while I used the scanner. So it was pretty cool, taking somebody that never really used thermal before. Did a whole set there. We're walking in and neighbors pull up and check on who we are, even though we had called them, of course. But they pull in, we introduce ourselves, you know, he knew the neighbor and knew who I was at that point. But so we talk for a few minutes there, and I go to leave, and at this particular spot I've got almost a half a mile permission for us to get in there. And I get going down the road like a quarter mile, and here on the south side, we had done the set on the north, here on the south side I got a coyote mousing out in the field. So pass him up, pull into another driveway, walk out and around the back of the house, and get all my stuff set up. And I'd seen him in the scanner while I was walking out, and he's gone. And I'm going, come on, this was just right here. It was maybe only 75, 100 yards off the road. Couldn't have gone that far. I mean, it's pretty wide open hay fields. So there's ended up being a pretty big drainage ditch, and then like 30 yards past the ditch, the hay gets quite a bit taller again. So I'm standing there, and I bet if I had waited, he would have peeked his head out at some point and just been doing his thing. Turned a crazy coaxer on, and that perked him right up, and I'm scanning to the south, and I come back, and here he's standing right in front of me, kind of right where I lost him, maybe a little further south. So I shoot him, and I turn my stuff off, and, you know, grab it all, and I walk out to him, and I'm just about to put the drag on him, and lady starts yelling at me from the road. "Oh, you guys out there? Did you get one?" So I ended up calling her, or talking to her. She ended up walking like 150 yards out into the field, and we stood there for probably a half hour at 11 o'clock at night, standing over a dead coyote, just kind of introducing ourselves, I guess. She was the lady I'd met at the driveway, and she was out doing her evening chores when she heard the shot. So I've said it a million times, our landowners are awesome. There's just no two ways about it. So I talked to her for a little bit, and drug him back to the truck, weighed him. It was 18-pound male. So I get going, and these storms were threatening on the first set. Just before I shot the first one, we had gotten rained on. I ended up hiding in a barn for about 10 minutes, and lightning was going crazy. The wind was like randomly picking up and gusting, and I'm looking at the radar, and there's little pop-up cells kind of everywhere. So didn't really want to get to a point where I walked out, you know, 200, 300, 400 yards out into a field to set up, and then be rushing to get all my stuff packed up and back in so my stuff didn't get wet. Decided to just take a little drive around. Well, I didn't make it far. I kind of went just around the corner, and we've seen a coyote in this field probably 4 times, just off the road, right by this row of round bales. I mean, we've seen them like in the same spot every time, and never been able to get on them. I only tried one other time. The other 2 times kind of just drove past and marked it in the box that there was one hanging out there. Well, I'm like, well, I'm not going to go out, you know, get set up, but I'll take one, you know, Chucky style, I guess you could call it. So I get out, set my stuff up, and when I set up, the round bale row was to my right, and he was over on the other side of it. Well, I'm just getting set up, and here it comes around the end of the round bales. He's a little ways out in the field, and again, I can tell he's a small one, but turn some coaxer on to try and get him in to come a little closer. The hay's kind of randomly tall through there, and I just catch a mouse in here and there, and he didn't like it. I think it was a pup. Kind of looked at me and then proceeded to kind of steadily mouse away from me to the north. So I turned the collar off, and I lost him pretty far back. I walked way to the right to see if I was down the lane where the round bales were, if I could maybe put a sneak on him. And he's way at the back. So we know there's coyotes around there. We've killed a few there. I killed that big 43-pound male there. So I knew that pup wasn't the only one. I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to turn some rabbit on and see what happens. Well, I'm kind of watching some deer further out back, and I'd seen the little one just every once in a while, you know, mousing. He'd jump real high and I'd see him, but he was far back there. I mean, 300-400 yards. And I'm kind of looking at him, and at this point I had walked away from my gun and my tripod. We're maybe 30 yards to the left, and I scan over with the scanner, and here's one coming in hot. I don't know if it came out of behind one of those windrows of corn, if it was laying in the field a little further back and didn't hear the coaxer on the first round because I had that on pretty quiet, or if it came out of the corn or standing corn next to there. I don't know where it came from, but it was coming in fast. So I real quick, like, oh, scoot back over to the gun, get on the gun, and it stops, and it's right in my wind, and I'm like, oh, this is not. And it kind of cocks its head one way, and it cocks its head the other way, and I'm going, man, I don't know. And it takes a few more little trots, and it's quartering to me a tiny bit, and there's weeds all in front of it, and I can just see its head and its neck. So at that point, with the wind the way it was, I just took a spot on its chin, went a little lower, and shot and dropped it. And then proceeded to not be able to find it because the hay in the field was, like I said, a bit taller in some spots, but it was a lot taller in general than I originally had anticipated. So ended up having to watch my video. Another joy of having the ATN scopes that take the video is having that as a tool, just another asset to be able to go back and watch that and pick out some landmarks. And once I watched the video, I walked right up to it. It was only at like 88 yards, and it ended up being one of the biggest females I've ever shot. It was a 33-pound female. So pretty cool night. Ended up dragging her back, got her in the truck, and I drove around a little more, and there was some rain spitting at me, and thunder and lightning going crazy. And at that point, walking through that hayfield for an hour, I was soaking wet, you know, up past my knees from all the wet in the field. And decided to call it a night, but overall pretty good. Definitely like a freebie when we can get one. That first one, you know, Brian started calling it Chucky style, like we shoot the woodchucks. You kind of drive around and find them and shoot them. Definitely like calling them in better, but dead's dead. So got that one. The second one was pretty cool. Like I said, it happens fast sometimes when it happens, makes it exciting, and to shoot that big old female was pretty cool. So we're excited. We got a lot of spots we haven't hunted in a really long time. That should be clearing out here pretty quick. The crop should start coming down. Second, if not third cuttings should start happening really pretty quickly here. We're cranking up for deer season. I had the kids out shooting yesterday with the 350, and really getting excited for this fall. And this crisp weather just really puts a seal on the deal that it's here, and I'm loving it, because that 90, I didn't like that very much. So anyway, thanks for following. Like, share, subscribe, and keep posted, because we're gonna be coming at you here hopefully pretty regularly on a little bit of action that we get to have out there. So take care, and we'll see you on the flip side.